We are back and we have a first run review today for the Topo Specter 3. This is a shoe that's getting a ton of hype. Some people are saying shoe of the year, which I haven't gotten to running in it yet, but I would be a little surprised given Super Blast and Mega Blast being out. But it does share the same foam as those two shoes, so it's got an aliphatic TPU throughout the whole shoe. We've got 39.5 millimeters of stack height in the back down to 34 for a 5 millimeter offset. That's right in the kind of sweet spot range I like to see for a heel to toe drop. And then with it being Topo, we have this more anatomical toe box. So this is quite substantial. The other side of that is it means you have a lot of surface area on the ground. And even one more thing, because it's wider, you would expect it to be heavier, but we are coming in at a minuscule 7.7 ounces, which for a daily trainer is pretty incredible. So as always with these first run reviews, I do a mile at 10-minute pace, 8:30 pace, and then something under 7-minute pace, depending on what the shoe gives me. I've done a first look in this where I felt a pretty aggressive rocker, so I'm curious what it's gonna do at that pace. And we'll also go into a fit and feel test. I'll tell you about sizing, length. I'll do a squish test, all those good fun things that make these reviews interesting. But with that said, let's go ahead and get this on foot. So I have had this on my foot just in the store. I've not gotten to do any running in it yet, but I did know that my size 12 sizing is pretty spot on with this. And they do such a good job balancing the upper feel. So that was one of my big takeaways on the fit and feel at the store is the Mega Blast, for example. I don't like the upper on that shoe. It doesn't feel right. I do like the Super Blast. The upper on it feels nice on my foot. It's still really lightweight, but it's not like painful to wear and it doesn't slip around, which I've been liking the Mega Blast a lot and I've been doing all of my long runs in it, so I'm only able to complain about it so much. But this upper feels much more like the Super Blast, where there's still some level of comfort. Like there's plenty of cushion through the heel collar here. There's plenty of padding on the tongue. For this to be a kind of up-paced daily trainer, I could see this potentially, because of the weight and the stack height, being a solid one shoe rotation. But oh, I do remember the laces were super long, so I will have to do a runner's loop actually just to steal up some of those some of the laces there. Even with that, it feels like we've got quite a bit of lace here. We'll double knot it and we'll be fine. If that's a big fault of the shoe, then I think we're in a really good spot with it. Now, in terms of where this fits within Topo, it's interesting because like the Phantom is very fine. I think it's a very solid like double kind of shoe. I put it in the same kind of category mentally that I put the New Balance 1080 in. It does have the more accommodating toe box, which I actually do appreciate quite a bit. It makes it a useful shoe for us at the store. But this feels like it's going to be just absolutely their clear winner. I am really interested to try the Phantom Pro. That's going to be a little heavier, I think a little more towards something like an Aeroglide from Salomon. It has like a nicer foam in it. It's got a pretty good stack height on it. Wide toe box again, which will certainly win them some fans. But I'm really excited to see how this Spectre 3 does against the broader market. So let's do a squish test here. All right, squish test here. You can see there's plenty of compression there. And then actually you can see how aggressive that rocker is. It feels like it really wants to throw you up onto the forefoot there. Side profile, you can see again, plenty of squish. Like there's a lot of squish there. It's softer than a Mega Blast is, which I really like. That's my kind of big qualm with the Mega Blast is it feels like it's on the firmer side of things, and that makes it really resilient, but also it makes it like not my favorite shoe to go like running. It's not like fun to go run in the Mega Blast. Now, if you do have a narrow foot, I actually really wouldn't worry about that too much. Like if I splay my toes out really big, I can kind of push towards the side, but there's not like a ton of dead space up there. Definitely go your true to size fit. But I like how it fits. And again, I don't have a wide foot at all. I am never going to buy a wide shoe, but the wide toe box on this, like still plenty secure here in the back. We've got it runners looped. I'm excited to go run, and I think that's all we've got left to do. Not really sure why the watch is freaking out, but we'll go ahead and get into this mile at 10-minute pace. The rocker is super noticeable to start, that is for sure. Cutting through the grass real quick. Hopefully it doesn't make the white shoes green, but yeah, it feels bouncy. I think it'll feel better as we go along. The weight is definitely noticeable. You know, when we're getting under 8 ounces, you're getting just so much less feel on foot. So I bet I'm actually going fast. To get the feel of it being really light but still bouncy, really nice. We'll check in a half mile in as we settle in. Okay, so I've not even made it a half a mile yet, but 2 things stand out. One, it is much smoother than I expected it to be, and it's much more encouraging on pace than I actually want it to be right now. I'm trying to get a nice, good, slow warm-up in because I did a long run 2 days ago, and yesterday I did a moderate, hard 5 miles. So I want to go slow right now. Also, definitely not a super blast. Like, super blast has got that squish mush and then bounce. This feels like it would be a better, like, faster, legit option somewhere between mega blast and super blast. We'll just realize the audio was out on that, but just finishing that first mile, 9:36, I was like fighting to slow down that whole way. It felt really nice. Certainly encouraged to go faster. I wore Endorphin Pro 4s yesterday, and this actually has a similar but a touch softer foam feel than it. A little more aggressive on the rocker, and then obviously a little less stiff, but I actually kind of prefer how this feels to the Endorphin Pro. And then the other thing that crossed my mind as I was doing that mile is it's wild to me that this and the New Balance 1080 are the same stack height. Like, they seem so far apart in terms of their feel, their kind of use cases. I'm excited to take this one up a little faster. I think it's going to do really well. I was feeling almost an encouragement to increase cadence with this style of rocker. It's potentially the most aggressive rocker I've ever felt. It feels like it really falls off at the forefoot. I kind of said it in the first video, the first look. It almost feels like an Alpha Fly, where if you can get on top of the pods, the zoom units, it's really, really good, really productive. This is a little different, but that feeling of having something right under the ball of your foot, I have that a lot in this shoe. It doesn't feel nearly as like punishing if you don't get to it. Like, I was heel striking on the first part of that, which is my normal stride, and it felt fine. It just felt like it was trying to get me to go faster than I wanted to there. So the way I was able to slow down was increase cadence a little bit and just kind of pitter patter through that first segment. We're going into the 8:30 paced mile here. So we'll get going up a decent little bit of speed here, more towards like my daily, not easy paces, but like my daily, I don't know, go out for a run and need to get a run done. So we started off a little hot, but reeled it in right to where we want to be. It feels really nice. Again, was encouraging me to go a little too fast. And I do feel just a little bit of heel slippage. Now, I did loosen the laces a bit before I got into the run because it felt like it was just a little too tight on the top of my foot. But I think if I were to just dial it in a little bit, it'd be like right where we want it to be. We'll just go ahead and finish out this mile and recap in a sec. And that puts us right where we were supposed to be, almost dead on with an 8:29. As I said, I feel like the heel was slipping just a tiny bit. It wasn't bad, but I just had some extra wiggle space kind of here. It felt pretty good as I was sitting down, but that's why we actually go running. I think I would just take up a little bit of lace actually through here. Like I've got these pretty loose still. And I think tightening it up there would do pretty much exactly what I want it to. I like having the space, so having a wider toe box is actually a good thing to me, unless it's like a race shoe, maybe a workout shoe, but I could honestly see this totally being a shoe I do kind of like a medium long run workout. I think that's going to be like dialed for what this shoe does really, really well. I would say before I've done this next mile, this is a shoe that would very easily slot into a rotation, and it wouldn't have to be a big rotation of shoes for this to, I think, do a really good job, but it's like right in line with what I like out of a shoe. Maybe a tad softer would be awesome, and then just a little bit more stack height, but I think coming in at 39 makes sense too, because then people who like really cared about keeping something under 40 millimeters for it being AAF legal, they have that, I guess. Not something that really crosses my mind all that often. I just want good feeling shoes, but again, I think it would do the medium long run workout just like bang on. So let's go ahead, get into this last mile, see how fast it wants to go. Again, remembering that I'm kind of beat up feeling wise. Like I don't feel 10 out of 10 great even coming off of a down week, because the last 2 days have been kind of tough. Let's go get it. All right, as always, I don't know how far we've gone. We should be just around a half mile based on this loop I've done so far. Whew. That's mighty quick this late in. I can tell how light it is. Feels really good on that front. Clearly working pretty hard. But really light. It's encouraging me to really keep the feet moving faster. So biggest pro so far is feels like cadence is a little higher than normal. We'll check in when we're done. All right, so really, I'm not mad at 6:35. That is pretty dang quick given what I've done the past 2 days. Again, just how light it feels on foot when you're trying to go fast like that is such a game changer. This is amongst the lightest shoes that I own. Being under 8 ounces puts it up with some of my best shoes, a lot of which are race shoes. And I think that speaks to how good of a job they've done with this shoe and how good this foam is. I also felt like keeping the turnover was in part due to how light it was, but also just how aggressive that rocker is. As you're getting into the forefoot, if you like that really rockered sensation, this is 100% doing it. Now, that did take quite a bit out of me, and I was just kind of taking what the shoe gave me. I wasn't pressing too hard. But those turnarounds, when you like kind of stop in place and then start going again, makes it hard to keep that faster pace. That's one of my better 1 mile times, which again, partially because we're getting just a little more fit. But I'm really happy with this shoe overall. I think it could even slot into those daily paces where you want just a shoe that's going to help take a little bit of stress off the body in terms of like trying to get a run done. I don't think it's going to do as good a job as like an every single day daily trainer for me. Like a lot of my easy paces feels like the rocker on this would just be a little more aggressive than I want out of that kind of feel. Also, it's crazy just You got deer right here. What's up, buddy? Are you gonna look at us? Nah, that's okay. But yeah, overall, super impressed with this shoe based on this first run. It is for sure. We'll go ahead and talk about value when we get back that way, but it is for sure worth the price that they're asking. 170 doesn't feel like a stretch at all. Honestly, it almost feels like they're trying to undercut this kind of shoe in the broader market, because it's a better product than most $170 shoes out there right now, at least based on this first run. We'll head back over that way, break down value, who it's for, who it's not for, and where it would fit in your rotation, so you know if this is maybe something you want to pick up. As I'm walking back to the car, I'm realizing just how comfortable of a shoe this is, which I really like. The only kind of bigger knock that I'm feeling is I can kind of feel this toe cap right here. Like, it's pretty hard, and as I lift my toes, I can kind of just feel it. So that was more of a as I'm walking thing, but noteworthy. All right, so we just finished up and we are talking value and rotation and who this shoe is for. So in terms of value, I think we're doing a really good job. At $170, when we're talking about shoes, this is going up against a Nimbus from Asics, a 1080 from New Balance. I think this is just well and above those kinds of shoes. It does remind me a little bit of the Salomon Aeroglide, which is a little cheaper, but this is a good bit lighter, and certainly the shoe that I would pick between the two of those for like everyday running. Aeroglide Gravel obviously has its own place as well, but in terms of outsole, actually, because Aeroglide Gravel came up. So as you can see here, there's actually plenty of rubber coverage, so I don't think that's going to be really a limiter on the shoe, which I really like. I don't like when a shoe kind of runs through the outsole before the shoe starts dying. So let's actually go to who it's for and who it's not for. Value, I'm saying, is really high. Who is this shoe for? Somebody who has a really fast cadence already. I think that would continue to be really good. Somebody that wants a really lightweight but still protective shoe. So something like a Skechers Aero Razor or an Adidas Evo SL. Those shoes feel harder. They feel more punishing. This feels almost in that vein still, but it feels like more cushion to it. I think that's because it's softer. I'm interested to see the run repeat numbers come in. I think it'll end up being on the softer side of all the shoes out there, but not on like the far end of what we would call like really, really, really soft. Now, who is it maybe not for? Somebody that has like a very tactile feel of the ground and doesn't like having things under their feet. Like, again, I kind of like this feeling, especially having run in it for a couple of miles now, but the feel with the ball of the foot just is so pronounced. I think that might put some folks off, but in general, I like it. Who else might not like it? Somebody that has a really narrow foot. I didn't really feel like it was an issue having some extra space up here. If anything, it's probably healthy to let your toes splay out. I generally do lean into the wider toe box thing for lifestyle, although most of my running shoes are not wider toe boxes. I think another person that'll work well for is somebody who needs more width but wants a lighter weight shoe. I think that's actually going to do a fantastic job because not all of the really good, fast, fun shoes come in widths. This is going to for sure fill a space there. And then next we can go into rotation and where it's going to fit in rotation. So one shoe rotation, yeah, for sure it can do that really well. Two shoe rotation, obviously it's going to fit well there. It's plenty fast, so I'd pair it with a lighter cushion or a heavier, kind of more daily shoe. I could see it pairing well with a Nike Vomero 18. I could see it pairing well with a Nimbus if you like rockers, because you'd have two shoes that are pretty heavily rockered. I think based just on feel, it would work well with the New Balance 1080. Like, this would take care of all the faster stuff. And then your 1080 could be your just daily shoe. Because, I don't know, I do like having some ground feel sometimes. There are days where I'm like, yeah, I want to have just a very plain, very neutral feeling shoe. And this would not do that. The 1080 would. I don't know if this would be like a standard pairing, but this with the Nova Blast 6, I think would actually be a pretty interesting duo. I feel like there are days I would just want to pull for one over the other. I don't really feel like the Nova Blast is all that like rockered feeling. Again, I think that 4 foot of the turbo squared foam just is almost not, like, it's almost the opposite of what this is. With the Nova Blast, it's almost hard to get up onto the 4 foot. This almost, when you do get on the 4 foot, it almost just kind of launches you forwards. So I think there are days I would want to pull for one over the other, although that's not what I would tell everybody out there in the world to do as a pairing. Now for a 3-shoe rotation, I think there are 2 ways we could go about a rotation like that. The first one is having a really high cushion, easy shoe, something like a Vomero Premium, something like a Vomero 18 even, Nimbus, something like that that's a little chunkier, beefier. You could have the Specter 3 in that kind of middle range where you're able to daily it for your moderate stuff, and then have something really kind of on the faster end like a I don't know, like an Evo SL that would work in that range. It feels like this has got plenty of pep, just not all that much. The other side of the rotation that I think you could build out is having something like a Super Blast that is on the cushier side. You can wear it for easy stuff. You could go faster in it if you want. I think this is faster than a Super Blast would be probably if we were really getting after it. And then again, something faster. So would you want to have like your ultra cushy shoe, or would you be fine with that kind of going away and replacing it with something a little different, right? That would be like your Super Blast, Specter, and Evo SL. So that's kind of what I would do for a 3-shoe rotation. Now, 4-shoe and above, I think we add a race shoe in there. I don't know. This just slots into a cool category where I think it could do a lot of things really well without being like overbearing in any of them. I think the weight, again, is just such a big pro to this shoe. The overall fit and feel and all that is good, not exceptional. Whereas like a Super Blast feels so dialed in for me. That feels exceptional on the upper and the foam. This feels like the foam is really good, and the upper and the rest of the fit is like good, like a solid good. With that said, you guys can always support the channel if you like reviews like this by checking out the Ontos running hat. That's a hat I completely designed myself, and it's just something I put a lot of effort into. It's a really good quality running hat. I've worn it all through this summer, and it's been doing a great job, like just keeping heat away, and actually like when you throw water on your head, you can actually feel it, which I love. So with all that said, I hope you guys all do something good for your body. Let me know if you want to see me compare this against any other shoes. And with that said, we'll see you guys in the next one. Do something good for your body. Bye.